little bit of disclaimer here, all right? With warning keys, classic presentation is they say that because it's a sensory nerve problem, because that lesion is in that warning keys area causing a sensory nerve problem, they don't know that they don't make sense, okay? They think they're speaking just fine. And again, classically speaking, they also think that they know what you're talking about, but they might not. Now, clearly here, she did know what that lady was talking about and asking her. Okay, but like I'm always saying, everything in pathology is on a big, big spectrum, right? Everything from very minor to very severe. But what would happen, do you think, with this lady if they had a paper and a pencil and just write down what you're trying to say? Huh? How many of you guys think she could do it? Raise your hand. Apparently it says YouTube. How many think you can't do it? Okay. So the vast majority say you probably could, and that's actually right. Okay? Again, in theory, people are people, and they break rules all the time, but in theory, the person, you give a piece of paper, because it's a sensory problem, what's messed up is their processing of written and spoken language. They just scribble on the paper, they're like, here you go, and they think they did well. Yeah?
They gave my dad the clock test.
The clock?
The clock test.
It's a clock test.
So,
They draw out the clock.
yeah.
They draw out the clock.
They have to draw a clock with the hands and the numbers, and it's going to be off for people that have to. You know, I swear you lecture. That test.
You're probably confusing me with your nursing professors on that one. I don't remember the clock test. Tell us more about it, since
No, I
that's
don't
why
know
you're
about
about
it.
According to Google, it's a test that screens for people with like dementia and neurological problems, Alzheimer's, etc.
So what would be wrong? Yeah,
For the numbers?
So can they, if they do that clock test, they can't get the clock, they can't get the time right?
No.
All
Like the
numbers on one
circle
side.
is like misshaped and like the,
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. You're right. Back in the day when you were a Catholic student, we did talk about that, like 80 years ago. Yeah, they can't draw the circle. It's not even correct.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll ring it up. But yes. Again, it's the processing center. It's the language processing center from that sensory deprivation is causing this problem with warning keys. Okay, so the funny part is though again, they don't know. Okay, actually, at this very moment, a couple of months ago, a friend of mine, he came back from Kentucky, and his wife came back from Kentucky with her mom, who had a stroke, warning keys version, and he's introducing me to her and everything. She's all smiling. It sounded just like that, and I'm like, "Oh, great, warning keys." You recognize it immediately, right? So I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" Shaking her hand, and we're having this conversation. I have no idea what she's saying. She thinks we're in the conversation though, and I'm just going with it. I'm like, whatever, man, let's keep talking. She's all happy and everything. And, you know, you've met a few people in your life, right? So you pretty much know how that's gonna go, you know? So I'm just kind of just going with what the typical conversation is. Like, hey, nice to meet you, kind of thing. Got a great son there, you know, that kind of stuff. Actually, daughter. But, yeah, so they're kind of like, they're happy, they're fine as far as they're concerned. On the other hand, the Broca's, frustrating. I ran into one of those people once actually. It wasn't as a medical professional, it was actually back in the day when I was young and I was an ops manager for a courier company. And one of my drivers got in a car crash. So I had to go down there and investigate the car crash because it was a company vehicle and all that. Anyway, so there's this elderly couple there, and the guy clearly had what I now know is a Broca's dysphagia. And so we're talking and we're looking at the back of this car and everything. There wasn't much damage or anything. You're holding up the trunk, you know, we're looking in the trunk and that sort of thing. Okay, no problem, we ran into you, we're gonna pay for it, don't worry about it, not a big deal. Get your car all fixed up and everything. So I'm standing there at the back of the trunk, and, you know, the guy with the stroke is standing there, and he's actually using a pad of paper more often than he's actually talking. Didn't get out very fast, but really, I mean, him and his wife have been married like 70 years, so she's doing most of the talking anyway, which is, it might not be different anyway in their life. I have no idea. They look like they were pretty natural with the whole thing anyway, but, so we're done, and, okay, I don't need to see the trunk anymore, we're good, I kind of step back, and the wife slams the trunk, and then, we hear, look over, the guy's hand is in the trunk,
Oh.
and he's like, ow! And you could tell if he could talk, oh man, that would not have been pretty. So she's of course freaking out, because you don't need keys to slam your trunk. Huh? But she had to have the keys to open the trunk, so she's looking all over for the keys, and she finally finds them, and she's fumbling them all over the place, and now she's shaking and everything, and anyway, get the guy's hand out of there, and it was strangely sad and funny at the same time. Yeah, that was like the first time I ever saw him broke this was like that. Yeah. Where?
I have a question. Okay, so if Broca's area, or yeah, if since that's motor, can't you reverse it with occupational therapy or speech therapy?
That is yet another excellent question. It's like you guys are set from a second AM. You're asking the same question. Yes and no. Okay? Here's the thing about strokes is, again, you can't regenerate a dead brain cell if it's a cell body with someone, right? But we can regenerate axons. Okay? So, what will happen is if somebody your age is, would have a stroke, there is a very good chance with physical therapy, occupational therapy, and years of work, you can reroute and regain function of whatever you lost. Okay? And there are certainly people that do that every day. Okay? Now, having said that, the vast majority of people who have strokes, they may not have 10, 20 years to reroute everything and get all that function back. So, it's one of those. Yeah.
My grandma had a stroke and it affected the Brooks area, but it only took her like 6 months. Well, it was very insensitive therapy, but after 6 months she was on again.
Dude, that's awesome.
And then,
Same way.
Yeah, my grandma had a broken stroke.
So-
My grandma took like 10.
Like 10 months. I'm curious. Religious? Okay, Nate?
What?
Yeah.
I got one yes, one no here, but so much for my experience. I was thinking maybe prayer help or something. But I got one yes and one no. I'm like, okay, fine. Right?
My senior year, a girl at my school had a stroke and it took her like a month.
Was it like a real stroke or was it CIA? Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a real one.
Yeah. I didn't mean like when you fake
Stroke is bad. Procedure and he had to stop doing it. People were calling 911.
But they said it was a stroke, not a TIA.
They used to do that.
Again, a lot of it,
Really?
the younger you are,
I thought
the
people called 911.
better chance you have of rerouting. When it comes right down to it, you're under 25. I told you this before, right? They redefined the age of an adolescent up to the age of 25 now because of your recoding and your taking back all of those the manufacturer that never really got used. So yeah, at that age in high school, then you still have a lot of peripheral ways to get to the same function. It's not like me, you know, and you have to like create new things and grow them at whatever it is, 1 millimeter a day or something like that. You already have it when you're an adolescent, so that may have a lot to do with it. I'm sure it has a lot to do with it. Was there something over your head, something? So we talked about these. Oh, I do need to point this out, because technically, this is just definitions, and you may have already had it in mind, Tab, but, because this messes people up sometimes, because you go out in the clinics or hospitals and be like confused, because, as you know, technically, dis means difficulty, right? And a in front of a word means without. This is one of those things we kind of butcher a lot, and the reason is because if you think about Broca's dysphagia probably, right? Because they can't talk. Obviously, it takes a long time. But people will say Broca's aphasia a lot too, okay? On the other hand, if you look at Wernicke's, is that aphasia or dysphagia? Because you're clearly talking, but it's not comprehensible talking. So people are like, I don't know if that's aphasia or dysphagia, so they think, what I'm saying is we kind of throw them back and forth, and sometimes it might be technically correct, sometimes not. Just kind of keep that in mind, because every once in a while I run into one of you type A's, overly body trained ones that are really bent out of shape about whether it's aphasia or dysphagia on the test question. Hey, don't worry about that part, okay? Well, you know Broca's and Wernicke's, the aphasia, dysphagia, don't get too upset about this. Okay?
what?
Put your hand up again. No? Okay. Okay, I'm not really sure what to say about this. I think I already covered it, because we skipped ahead, but I guess what you should probably get out of this is if you see all that red, that's the middle cerebral artery, right? And more often than not more often than not, if it has something to do with Broca's or Wernicke's, that somewhere in the middle cerebral artery, the MCA, is where the occlusion was, because that's what's obviously feeding those parietal lobes, temporal lobes, frontal lobes, where you have the Broca's and Wernicke's areas. All right. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. I started off on that thing about haven't seen you in a while, because I was going to ask when my sister had a heart attack, last week, I guess a week ago, and Dr. Wyman had the sub. One, he said, you guys are a lively group, which I do. And did you guys actually do an in-class case study and everything?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, I just want to make sure we did that. Somebody have something to say?
No, I thought you were gonna ask me a question.
Oh, that's what you're doing.